Welcome to our executive interview series at AITalks, presented by AIScoop. I'm Wyatt Cash, and we're here with Captain Christopher Clark, AI lead for the U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Clark, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
So I'd like to start by asking, can you provide some examples of how AI has aided efficiency or decision-making processes within the Marine Corps? What's changed since last year?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a number of things that I could talk about. One of them, which is really interesting, is what we call the Retention Prediction Network. So it was developed by our Manpower branch, MNRA, to look at poolees who are Marines awaiting boot camp recruit training. And a number of those Marines statistically will not complete their first full 4-year commitment, which is an issue for a number of reasons. Mainly, we need those Marines, and there's also financial issues with that as well. And so the Retention Prediction Network uses machine learning to take in a number of features about those individuals and predict their completion of that first full term. And so by doing that, we can then take what features resulted in the prediction of those Marines who may not complete the first complete term, give that to the recruiters so they can focus on those areas and ensure and improve the chances of that Marine completing the first term. So there's a number of additional applications beyond that. So that's kind of the starting point. It's making a lot of progress, which is really exciting, and has the potential for a big impact on retention of those Marines. But you can imagine applying that throughout the life cycle of a Marine as well. There's something that they're looking at, which is really interesting. Throughout promotions and other parts of their career path. There's some others as well. There's an initiative called Aries that is taking a platoon commander or a company commander who's focused on identifying landing zones and routes to the objective and other things, taking that cognitive load that they currently have and using AI and other things to automate that process. So instead of looking at a space and trying to identify the landing zone as a platoon commander who's worried about a lot of other things, it uses machine learning to identify the landing zones and to recommend a number of those, and then also to provide potential path to the objective for those commanders so that they can essentially offload that cognitive burden of getting to an initial starting point, and then they can focus on the decision making, which is what we want them to focus on. Why this landing zone? Why this path? Concealment, cover, all those things that they need to consider and make sure that it's the right one for the Marines. And then the last one is one of the things that we're experimenting right now is taking the Marine Corps' after action repository, which is a significant repository of all of the after actions. From across exercises, deployments, and other things in the Marine Corps, and then doing a machine, an AI human teaming to be able to draw insights from that repository using generative AI, large language models. We have a Marine, Major Ben Marsh, who he did a program with that we're partnered with the Air Force. They have what's called the Phantom program, which is at MIT, part of the Air Force's AI Accelerator. We partnered with them to send a couple Marines each cohort. He went there, took this use case, fine-tuned a model, and came back, and it's just phenomenal. Being able to draw insights from that repository that is very challenging. You can imagine how much information is in there, and so really a lot of great stuff being done.
Really appreciate those examples. And then let's talk a little bit about how you see AI agents and the evolution of those helping to advance the Marine Corps' operations, either tactically or strategically.
Yeah, absolutely. So agentic AI is certainly a very interesting topic. It's likely coming maybe sooner than we think, and there's a lot of things we need to do to be able to support that. And so part of that is the Marine Corps' AI strategy we published last July, and the AI implementation plan that we are completing now, and we're expecting to be published fairly soon, to really lay the foundation and the groundwork for a lot of the things that we need to be able to use the current AI capabilities, but then also to be prepared for agentic AI and the technology that we expect coming down the road. And really, I see agentic AI spanning across all of the domains, from logistics, business side, processes, the warfighter and augmenting their decision making and other things. And one example that I'll give, and I used this maybe a year ago now, is I'm a communications officer by trade. So when we're preparing for an exercise or a deployment, there's a number of things that have to be done. And so one of those things is being able to identify what equipment, the equipment string that's needed for the exercise or the deployment, for the operation, and then inventorying all of that, what it's going to go in for transportation, a number of things that's just very time-consuming and very error-prone. And by developing an AI agent into that workflow that can understand from the after-action repository from previous operations, a recommendation for an equipment string, and then be able to populate the inventory via automation, so we get rid of the potential for human error, copy-paste errors, whatever, and then be able to do all of that administrative work so that I, as a commo, and my Marines are able to focus on the parts of it that matter instead of all of that administrative stuff, which takes just an enormous amount of time. So just one small example, it's not necessarily warfighter focused, but you can just imagine across the spectrum there are numerous ways that agentic AI is going to impact the future of the Marine Corps and the way we fight and the way we make decisions and just the way that we do it. And all of that to say, these agents, they must have human oversight. And that's critical, especially in the Marine Corps and the types of decisions that we're making, that those agents are not left to their own to make the decision, but that throughout the decision-making process, there's human oversight, and the final decision made is by a human. And the way that can happen can vary, but the human must have the ability to make that final decision, not the AI agents.
That's a great point. Well, Captain Clark, thank you so much for joining us here, speaking at AI Talks, and also joining us here for this interview. We really appreciate your insights and perspectives on how AI is evolving in the U.S. Marine Corps.
Yeah, thank you for having me.